Okay, I need to talk a little bit about Robert Merton and his ideas of function and dysfunction and latent and manifest. There are four different patterns that you'll see here. All right, something that is manifest, that is something that I intentionally do. I am making a decision. The book gives the example of growing the population in my city. So um, I'm going to offer $500 for every baby that's born. The manifest function is to increase the population in the city, and that's a good thing. So manifest what is intended, function is it's beneficial. Okay, now we have manifest dysfunctions. Manifest dysfunctions are things like terrorism. Terrorism is a perfect example of a manifest dysfunction. I'm going to do something to just rock your world. I'm going to do something to make you miserable. Bullying is also another example of a manifest dysfunction. Um, so we do these things on purpose and they're intended to hurt. Now, the word latent. Latent means that it's unexpected. Ooh, I didn't know this was going to happen. That's pretty cool. I intended something to happen, but gee, something else good happened as well, and I didn't plan on this. That is what we call a latent function. And that's a good thing. You're like, oh, okay, well, we'll keep it. But if you were doing something and something bad happened, that is a latent dysfunction. And you're like, oh no, I didn't want that to happen. That's bad. Let's stop. Let's quit. So let's look at a couple of examples of this because um, as we work through problems and issues and we use this functionalist perspective, uh, these four categories are so incredibly important. So let's say we have a storm coming and it's either going to be an ice storm or a hurricane. It just depends on which season it is. But Colin makes the decision to close the campus. And they send out all the emails and they let everybody know, hey, campus will be closing, so you've got to leave and go home. Now, why are they doing this? And I know all of y'all are sitting there going, well, for safety. Exactly. It is a function for safety. That is the manifest function. To keep our students safe, we are going to close campus so that they can all leave campus and they can go home. Okay? Now, there's no manifest dysfunction because a storm can't say, well, I'm going to go blow up Weston, Mississippi just because I don't like Weston. So there's no real manifest dysfunction here. But what are some latent functions that can happen from school closure? Well, one latent function could be you're going to get to go home and hang out with family and sleep late and eat some of mom's good cooking. And maybe you had a test, so you're going to get an extra day or two to study for the test, or you have a project and you'll get an extra time to study for the project. All of those good things, those are considered latent functions. What about a latent dysfunction? Well, what if we have our list of things that we have to get accomplished over the course of the semester, and it doesn't matter if we're out one day or we're out 4 days. We still have to accomplish all of this. So that might mean that you have a test scheduled for the day you come back, and the instructor says, we're staying on task, we're staying on schedule, and you're going to have to do that. Um, and that could very much be a latent dysfunction because you couldn't be there with your teacher to study. And the teachers are still kind of cramming everything in and saying, okay, we're going to have to double up on our work. You're going to have to do some work at home when we get back from this crisis. So that could be seen as a latent dysfunction too. But here's why this is so important. What we call ourselves doing when we're trying to make a choice, when we're trying to make a decision, we want to get the most function out of a decision. as we possibly can and minimize the latent dysfunctions. And so, as we are kind of like Comptonian or Darwinian, the people that are Darwinian would say, okay, look, we've got to cut the budget. And so we've just got to lay off a bunch of these people. That's all there is to it. So cutting the budget is the manifest function. But a latent dysfunction is a lot of people will lose their job. Now, someone who is more Comptonian will have trouble with that. They'll say, we've got to cut the budget, but gosh, can't we do like a little here and a little there? And I just can't stand laying off a lot of people. So that is where some people will have some trouble making choices and making decisions. How many times have you just gotten really angry at somebody and because they did something, and then you find out later that was not the plan, that somewhere the plan went all wrong, and it changed your interpretation, and it changed your idea of what they did, because you saw, oh well, they weren't intentionally trying to harm me. It harmed me, but that wasn't their intention. um, so as we look at issues, especially with conflict theory, and we have to prove intent, are they intentionally, is this a manifest function, or is this a latent function that's going to happen? So if we look at budget cuts, okay, let's take for instance, say Medicare, Medicaid budget cuts. And a lot of the people that will get cut from the program will be lower income, less educated. And statistically, what group of people does that involve, especially in Mississippi? It involves minorities. So we have to be really careful here. Is this is a lot of minorities that will lose benefits? Is this a latent dysfunction of a manifest function to save the program as a whole? Or are there other places that they could save money, but they are intentionally going to cut minorities or disenfranchised population out of health care? So, and that would make it a manifest dysfunction, which would come under conflict theory. But again, you have to prove that place of intent. What is the intent of this policy? What is the intent of this action? What is the intent of this program? So pay close attention when we talk about function, manifest function, latent function, dysfunction, manifest, or dysfunction, latent. Unintended to harm a system, unintended to help a system, and then our manifest. So be sure that you have those 4 arrangements kind of all straight in your head, okay?